Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. My name is Cindy. Thank you so very, very much for finding me, joining, subscribing, your comments, your views. You guys are just brilliant, and I really, really do appreciate it. So I have a question. And I'm going to ramble for just a little bit because I'm trying to actually figure out how I want to formulate the question. But this is the thing, okay? So Russia and Iran are political allies, they're economic allies, okay? So there's that. And Trump is trying to really antagonize Iran. I do not believe that he actually wants to go to war with these people, but I do believe that he's just really out to sort of stir that pot and get it all boiling over. So how's Putin feeling about Trump's behavior? That's kind of what I want to know. Like, where do things stand right now with Putin and Trump based on the fact that Trump is sort of going hard at Iran? Where does that put Putin and Trump? Like, how does this work? Is Putin aggravated? Is Trump trying to appease him? So let's ask the universe. Let's give these cards a good shuffle and see if we can get some answers on kind of what the story is there, because it's sure to be an interesting one. Okay, so down you come. Okay, so Trump, Putin, Iran. Trump, Putin, Iran. Trump, Putin, Iran. Got the Chariot, abandonment, victory, King of Wands. The Chariot is interesting, just as I'm looking at it, because you have three partners creating a triad, right? You have Iran, you have the United States, you have Russia. And it's almost in some bizarre kind of way, each country feels that they have the other two countries exactly where they want them to be. Now, I'm not exactly sure that that's comforting, because, it appears that nobody is, in fact, really working in concert as much as each country is trying to dominate and sort of rule. So much for, sovereignty and that kind of thing. Okay, Putin considered Trump's election win like one of his greatest accomplishments. Okay, he managed to get a moron with no moral compass, no strategy, no real thoughts or opinions on much of anything. He managed to get him into the White House, in the most powerful position within the White House. And now it's like he's sort of getting a little tired of Trump. Because Russia is the kind of country where, as the leader, I say what I want to say, and you all just better toe the line and believe me. Now, I do know that there is some resistance going on in Russia, and God bless, maybe eventually they can crack out of that stranglehold that they're in. But Putin it's not that he doesn't understand. It's that he wishes Trump would actually keep a coherent thought in his head from situation to situation, or frankly, in 5-minute increments would actually be pleasant. So he's just getting tired of the fact that Trump just is all over the board. He doesn't know what he's talking about when he does talk. He likes to pound his chest, and he likes to, carry on about he's such a tough guy. But in actual fact, it's annoying, because what Putin sees going on is that Trump takes two steps back, 3 forward, and then, 4 forward and 18 back. I mean, there's just no reasonable way to understand Trump's behavior in terms of a political agenda, or in terms of trying to get, his wants and desires sort of in sync with other countries. I mean, Trump very much wants to do it all his own. He wants to be the big man on campus. He wants to be able to say, I'm the one that did it. I did it all by myself. Nobody helped me. The problem is that the world no longer functions like that. We really are living in a global village. And so you can't just behave like you are an island unto yourself and whatever you say goes. It might go with limited success to your island. If you want to be a little king of your island, I guess that you can make that work. But the whole world is not going to bow to you because, you want to play king and you want all the credit. And so the other leaders, particularly allies of the United States, are very concerned. And they're, they really are feeling like they need to kind of pull in the leash, not give him quite as much, because they're coming to understand that it just seems to take so little for this guy to just go off on some tangent that doesn't even make any sort of logical, intelligent sense. So for those of you who are worried and concerned, I mean, I share your worry. I am not for a minute making light of it or minimizing it. It is a scary situation, what's going on. You've got the United States wound up, you've got Iran wound up, and you have Russia. So I think at this point, almost like sitting back, and, Iran is Russia's ally. So they're not going to take too kindly with what Trump is trying to do. Trump and Putin for sure are ruled by greed and money. They just, I do not know enough about the Iranian head of government to sort of even be able to pick out his energy in here, because really what I'm trying to figure out is how Putin is reacting to what Trump is doing. Iran somehow very much sort of feels a little bit like a puppet. It gets this way and that way depending on, who's screaming about what. But for those of you who are worried and concerned, trust me, justice is going to prevail. This is going to balance out. There is going to be a leveling off. But there is absolutely an end coming, an end to these kinds of behaviors where, it's abandonment, you need to walk away. It's not going to go on, and I don't believe it's actually going to end in some sort of great big confrontation or big war, because, in fact, the allegiance or alliance between Putin and Trump is strong, and they're going to try to keep it going as long as they can. And by they're going to keep it going, I kind of mean Trump is going to continue to be manipulated, and Putin is going to play Trump for the fool he is. Oh my goodness. All right. You have the Lovers followed by the Two of Cups, okay? This is an alliance that there is more going on there than we see or recognize. There are secrets between the two men. In some ways, the two of them are in sync. It's like they're cut from the same cloth. in each other, they see someone who, frankly, is as corrupt as they are, and so therefore understands the game and how it's played. Kind of wasn't expecting that. I mean, I know that, Putin and Trump are allies, but this speaks of a much tighter connection. What's that expression? Brothers of different mothers. It's kind of like that. It's a little strange, and that kind of does explain why Trump had such a hard-on to meet Putin over the years. I think that just sort of on some level, Trump recognized in him someone who he could completely relate to. The reasons for we're going to be best friends and I don't understand why we can't get along with Russia and that whole thing. On some level, it was almost as if Trump was searching for a way to get into Putin's inner circle. There is just such an attraction because Putin gets away with all the scummy stuff that Trump wishes and wants to do, but nobody questions Putin because it's in Russia. Trump gets away with it in the United States, and he is discovering that the more of a spotlight you shine on yourself, that eventually it's going to come back and haunt you, because in the United States, that silly little thing like, freedom of the press, and people, the higher up they climb, the harder they fall. And certainly the higher up they climb, the more they are investigated, the more sunlight shines on them, because, the more important and powerful your position, the more there has to be some really clear understanding of the personality, their motivations, what their interests are, what, where they could be not working in your best interest as a country, but working in theirs. And Trump just wants to be like Putin. He wants to be able to do whatever he wants and not have anybody question him. Like, it's sort of like he actually doesn't know what country, one, he was raised in, and what the standards and the values and the expectations of that country are. It's kind of crazy. He doesn't get it. He doesn't seem to understand the Constitution. He just wants to be supreme ruler. He really does. He just wants to be the guy that's never questioned. Again, he thinks he's so clever. He thinks he's so brilliant. Make no mistake, Putin plays into that illusion that Trump entertains, and as a result sort of keeps him over the barrel. I want to know if Putin has specific things on Trump that Trump would not like to be exposed. Okay, and here we have our answer. The emperor in this case is going to be Putin, based on just simply the way I asked the question. He carries all the strength because he has the power to illuminate. He can shine lights where not only Trump, but Kushner, the Trump family, don't so much want light shed. And Putin is very aware of the fact that he's got the floodlight. And Putin is also really aware of the fact that in his country, no one's really going to push him about answers. So he feels that he can just do and say whatever, because frankly, he, at this point he can. And the King of Pentacles is often my card for Trump, as is the Fool. So, here we have him, and he's taking what isn't his. He's picking fights. He's not staying loyal to the people he should be loyal to. Instead, he throws them under the bus. He takes what he wants and then kind of spits them out. It's a lot of intense emotions. And part of it is that for Putin plays Trump, like a fiddle, right? I mean, he just has the ability to read and understand him so well. And Trump, in many ways, Trump actually feels out of his league with Putin. He really, really does. I think on some level he realizes that he bit off way more than he can chew with this Putin guy. And not only that, but he's well aware of the fact that Putin has information on him that he would really, really not like to come to light. Yeah, okay. This situation will change. It's going to end. The alliance between the two of them, a lot. I can't say all the details, but a lot of details, a whole lot more than are out there right now, are going to come to light over time. So some of it will come up in the next 6 months, some in 12, some in 18, some in 24. But slowly but surely, the dynamics, the arrangements, the connections between those two men in particular are going to start to surface. People are going to get some real clarity on that, and they will be judged. They're going to be judged for the behavior, for their actions, for their misconduct, for their cruelty, for all of it. I just had a kind of weird little... Okay, so there will come a time of celebration. There will come a time of a balance of power. For now, understand that cooler minds really will prevail. In part because despite what Bolton and Pompeo say, Trump really is scared of starting any sort of a significant war. And I would not be surprised if there was not some sort of a communication that went on between Putin and Trump recently that kind of went along the lines of, we have the same kind of weapons you have, and Iran is our friend. Back off, Trump. I wouldn't be surprised. I think that's exactly what has gone on in the last few days as Trump went from, I'm going to attack them and to, we're going to do something sort of not as volatile. Issuing a bunch of sanctions or additional sanctions on Iran, I get that Trump feels that that's a really smart and powerful thing to do. And frankly, I don't have an opinion, honestly, on whether it is or isn't. But what I do know is that the more sanctions get imposed on Iran, the more Iran is going to be dependent on Russia to safeguard them and see them through these difficult waters. And so that plays into Putin's hand of wanting Iran kind of under his thumb. He wants control of that country. And the more Trump threatens, the more leverage Putin ends up having with Iran. So, Trump has nowhere to go and nowhere to turn. There's squabbling going on. There's fighting going on in the White House. People are not agreeing. The situation right now is sort of volatile, and there's a lot of agitation. There's a lot of people not listening to other people. People just very interested in moving their own agenda forward. But, it's not, it's really not the end of the world. And again, I am not minimizing for 1 second how difficult this is. And it's difficult globally because, again, I'm Canadian. we're sitting on top of you, and you got Mexico, sitting kind of underneath you. And so that's a massive, massive landmass that could literally get wiped out if something goes like really hinky and people lose their tempers and things start flying that shouldn't fly. So it's not just the United States that is worried. Globally, people are worried. But there is enough strength with allies who are going to also pull in the reins and not let this situation kind of get out of control. And cooler heads will prevail. There will be some compromise. There will be some fruitful talks. There will be negotiations that actually, maybe go better than even are expected. Make no mistake, that's not because Trump is all of a sudden a smart negotiator, as much as other people involved may be able to have at least a cool enough head to move things in a better and stronger direction and keep it out of Trump's hands, because he just likes to yell and scream. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be a bit of a bumpy ride. I mean, I can't snow you and tell you no, it's fine, it's fine. It's not. There's some really troubling times ahead, and times where people are getting scared and anxious. Do everything in your power to keep those kind of feelings minimized. Breathe in, breathe out, do a little meditation, listen to some birds chirp, sit in the sun, drink a martini or two, whatever works for you. But you want to keep your energy sort of a little bit more zen, so that you are not adding to the chaos by sending out your chaotic energies into all the rest of the chaos. You want to sort of just stay relaxed and calm and understand that this too shall pass. I have no indications, none, and I will tell you if I did. I have no indications whatsoever that Trump is going to be around for the next 4-year term. And what indications I do have indicate that Trump is going to be very, very busy trying to fix the mess his life is kind of in. So, I'm hoping that somewhere along the way I said something that perhaps gives you a little bit of comfort. Do not be overly concerned. These things sort of unfold kind of the way they unfold. And there are a lot of different players and components that are moving around and shifting around and falling into place. Some human, some energetically, some from the heavens above. There are energies moving into place to keep this situation as contained as it can be kept, so that the power does not end up going into hands that it is not, hands that are not competent to hold the power. Okay, so I hope you have found this helpful. Thank you very, very much for liking and subscribing and your comments. I've actually started to get some donations, and that is like just so heartwarming. It's really, really special. So thank you, every one of you. I'm so grateful you have found me, and I'm grateful that you continue to, check me out and watch my videos. And if you find something you like, I'm grateful. So until next time, be well, take care, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.